Hey, coach, you may not have realized this, but money is cyclical. And there are three money cycles that you definitely want to be aware of so that you can shift from feeling that money is just something that happens to you into being at choice and in your power with money. I'm Kendall. Tune in to today's episode where I'm going to reveal what the three money cycles are and how to assess where you currently are within each of those three. I'm also going to give you 4 key teachings about money cycles and then 4 steps you can take right now to bounce back quickly if one of your money cycles is at a low point. It's all here for you in this episode of the Money Coach School podcast. Let's dive in.
Welcome to the Money Coach School podcast. To really excel at coaching women, you have to be skilled, confident, and even fearless at money coaching. If you're passionate about women holding genuine money power and love supporting women entrepreneurs, then this is the show for you. Now here's your host, money feminist Kendall Summerhawk.
Hello, beautiful coach. Today is a special day because this is episode number 50. Woohoo! I can't believe it. I'm here already. I have loved creating this podcast for you over these past 10 months, so this feels so good to celebrate. I heard a statistic recently that 8 out of every 10 podcasters quit. They quit in less than 1 year or in less than, I think it was like 26 episodes. So that means that this podcast is already in the top 20% just by virtue of consistency. I'm also aware of our own statistics that we look at every month that show that we have right around 100% listen rate. What that means is that each episode gets listened through all the way until the end. That's phenomenal. It means that you value what you're hearing, so thank you. I am so honored and I'm thrilled. So I've got consistency handled. I've got loyalty handled. Thank you so much. Now my goal is to get the word out, to spread the reach, and to triple the number of downloads we get each month by the end of this year. So if you could do me a favor and screenshot listening to the podcast and then post it on social, and you can tag me on Instagram at Kendall Summerhawk, or share the link to this podcast with a colleague or in a Facebook group that you love being part of, because every coach needs to make important shifts in her relationship with money. And because every coach wants to master the craft of coaching. And because every coach deserves to be inspired and uplifted and supported in their work as a coach. All right, so today we're talking about money cycles. I chose this topic for today in celebration of our 50th episode together because this podcast just completed its first cycle of 50, and now we begin the next cycle. So most people don't think about money being cyclical, but I do, and I created this concept that I want to share with you here today. Most people just think, well, I have money or I don't have money, or I spend too much, or I have too much debt, or I'm too this, too much, too little, whatever. So that's very black and white thinking. But money doesn't work that way. Money is not actually black or white. Money is fluid. Money moves in cycles. So what I want to do is give you an easy way of thinking about money cycles so that you can instantly recognize where you are in each of them. There are 3 money cycles. And then I'm going to give you 4 keys about money cycles so you know how to work with them. And then I have 4 steps for you that you can easily do to increase the cycle that you're in and bounce back quickly when one of your money cycles is at a low point. So let's dive in. So at the highest level, there are just 3 main money cycles. Number 1, the cycle of creating, which includes earning and even borrowing. Number 2, the cycle of accumulating, which includes saving and investing. And number 3, the cycle of circulating, which includes spending and repaying. So let's look at those keys that I promised you. Key number 1 is that there is movement and not stagnation with each of these cycles because money loves to flow. It's when we experience stagnation in any of these 3 cycles, because it does happen, but money's not meant to have that happen. But when it does happen, that's when we feel scarcity or anxiety or not enoughness, or we experience money drama of some kind. So that's key number 1. Within each cycle, there's meant to be movement, not stagnation. Key number 2, Each cycle has low points and high points. So, for example, you may be in a high point in your earning cycle. So, money's coming in through your business or through an inheritance or through a launch you just wrapped up, however, it's coming into you. And at the same time, you could be at the low point of a cycle of accumulating where you haven't been saving money and you haven't been creating that nest egg that you want. So, another example may be that you've been spending a lot of money. So, the cycle of circulating is actually really high because, it's really circulating. And you want that cycle to taper off so that you can put your money into other things. I hope that makes sense because the circulating cycle it acts in reverse actually. When the circulating cycle is high, it means a lot of money is being circulated. In other words, a lot of money is going out the door. Whereas with the cycle of creating and accumulating, a lot of money is coming in. So when we get into money drama is when we don't understand where we are at each of these cycles. So then what happens is our brain starts to disasterize. That's what it does. It's really, really good at that. Let me give you an example. If you've been in a high cycle of circulating, meaning spending a lot, but a low cycle of creating, meaning not a lot of income coming in, that creates money drama. And our brains immediately go to worst case, world ending scenarios. And that's when you feel out of control or helpless or powerless or that you have no sovereignty with money. In a word, it sucks. All right. So now that you know that each cycle has low points and high points, let's go on to key number 3. Once you create awareness of where you are in each of these 3 cycles, you give yourself the power to get into the high point of creating an accumulating cycle and to stay there longer. So keep in mind for the circulating cycle, high isn't always a bad thing. I just want to point that out. So for example, if you choose to really prioritize on paying down debt, then your circulating cycle could be very high, but it's at choice. It's at your choice. It's not overspending. It has intention, it has purpose behind it, and it's temporary. All right, and key number 4, no cycle lasts forever at either a high point or at a low point. And this is so important to understand because if you don't, then what can happen is you may feel caught by surprise as the cycle starts to change. And then your brain takes you into disasterizing and into a money drama story. But when you're prepared for a cycle to, cycle from high to low, you can recognize it happening and you can take action to springboard back up again much, much more quickly than you would have otherwise. In other words, your lows don't go down as low and they don't stay as low. So keeping in mind, of course, that, again, I'm going to remind you that the cycle of circulating is one that you may want to have stay low, which is an awesome thing. Like if you're not spending a lot of money, you're not paying down debt right now or don't have any debt, that's where it's going to be at a low place. That's a good thing. But the other 2 cycles, you want to keep them high, bounce them back up to high as quickly and as often as you can. So how do you get into that empowered position with these cycles? 4 steps. Step number 1 is awareness. This is simply recognizing for each of the 3 cycles, creating, accumulating, and circulating, are you at a high point or are you at a low point? And just as importantly, in what direction are you headed? In other words, are you at a low point for creating income, but you're on a steady climb upward because you're starting to sign on a few new clients for coaching, or you're raising your fee so each client has much more value, much more income potential for you, or you're launching something like a group coaching program, which will bring in a lot of cash. Here's what you can do. So for each of these 3 cycles, you can just jot them down on a piece of paper, just down the side of the paper, and then draw an arrow next to each one that's pointing either up, down, or sideways. And sideways is if you feel like you're at a plateau. This is an ultra simple visual, but it really helps your brain make sense of where you are. And you can do this for the past month, or you can zoom out and look at it for the past quarter, which is what I really like to do. So step number 1 is awareness. Step number 2 is make new choices. Money does not have power over you. You have power with money. When you look at where you are in one of the 3 cycles, you're at choice as to where you're headed. I recommend starting to make new choices by creating a goal. It's really simple. I mean, let's not get fancy here. This is not rocket science. So you create a goal. So for example, an income goal for the creating cycle, a savings goal for the accumulating cycle, and a spending goal for your circulating cycle. You choose the number and then write it down next to where you drew that arrow so that you know where you want to be headed. The second part of making new choices is really about priorities because you're not looking for equal balance across your three types of cycles. That might happen on occasion, but it's not really the way they work. So, for example, I often coach my clients inside of Secret Energy of Money Mastermind to prioritize creating and accumulating and not worry so much at that point about paying down debt because trying to do everything all at once can be overwhelming and defeating very, very quickly. And typically, being in a high cycle of accumulating is very new for a lot of women. And so that's a great cycle to start increasing or rising up. Which leads me to step number 3. Consistency is your currency. Taking small, consistent steps is a lightning rod for success. What that can look like is, for example, if you want to be in a high cycle of creating money, then start looking at what offers are you making? How often are you making an offer? What is your pricing? Are you incentivizing pay in fulls? If you start making one offer every single day for the next 90 days, you are going to create such momentum in creating cash, it is going to blow your mind. And it doesn't matter if you get a bunch of no's because within there, you're going to get some yeses. Absolutely. What you're doing is creating an open door for the creation of money. And you can self-coach with questions like, what options are there? And you can keep your mindset moving you forward by asking yourself, what is the one best thought I can have in this moment about creating income? And what is another best thought? And what you're doing by using that pair of questions is you're sending your brain on a treasure hunt, finding best thoughts. You're giving it something constructive to do to support you rather than slipping into, well, I don't know how. Step number 4, last one, celebrate action, not results. End results are what we coaches love, live, and breathe. I get it. Oh my gosh, I am a results junkie. But this isn't the time to focus on that destination because that can often feel daunting and it can just take you out of the game too quickly. So instead, I love to have you focus on the action. Remember, consistency is your currency. And most women expect huge, amazing results too soon, and then they give up too soon. Don't do that. Just don't do that. Yes, you're going to make more money. Yes, you are going to start saving and creating that unbreakable nest egg. Yes, you're going to pay down or pay off debt. All those things will happen, but you have to give them time. Be patient, be consistent, be proud of accumulating a small amount of money this month. Be proud of making offers every day. Give yourself the gift of the compounding effect to happen, and don't get into all or nothing thinking. Don't get into either or thinking, which I did a whole episode on that. It was episode number 35, which I will link to here in the show notes, and it's definitely worth listening to. All right, so to wrap up here, when you look at money in these 3 cycles of creating, which includes earning and yes, even borrowing, the cycle of accumulating, which includes saving and investing, and the cycle of circulating, which includes spending and repaying, you free yourself from feeling like money just happens to you or that it doesn't happen to you. What you do is you put yourself in control because you have insight, and with insight, you have choice. Understanding these 3 cycles of money is how you know what to prioritize and when. It's how you can take corrective action early before a cycle starts to dip too low. My vision, I say this all the time, is to create a world where women hold genuine money power because money is power, money is choice, money is freedom, and the world changes when women have money. If you want to do the money work that frees you to earn more, save more, and have more money, then my Secret Energy of Money Mastermind may be what you've been seeking. This mastermind with me is an exceptional integration of practical money tools plus the inner money work that results in you eliminating that inner fight you may be having with money and giving you very specific coaching and exercises with me that result in you making more money, that result in you feeling in relationship and harmony with money, what I call money peace, that result in you knowing how to handle your money like a badass because that's who you are. So inside Secret Energy Money, I will teach you the same grounded money principles and money tools that I've used to create nearly $30 million in my coaching business so that you can revolutionize your relationship with money into a powerful new level in the blink of an eye. Now, we are opening up enrollment to come into Secret Energy of Money Mastermind in just a couple of weeks. So you can head over to secretenergyofmoney.com. Get on the wait list right now. I'm encouraging you to go get on that wait list even before we've updated the webpage. As of the recording of this episode, the webpage has not been updated yet. I'm practicing perfect imperfection. So it might still say that it's a 90-day mastermind. It's actually not anymore. It's a 1-year mastermind with also a 6-month option if you prefer. And we have so many exciting elements that we're adding to it, along with the fundamentals of coaching with me, coaching with my master coaches, and getting all this training and private attention, actually. So we're really excited about what we're adding, and we will have the webpage updated in the next, probably the next 2 weeks, right before we open enrollment. So Secret Energy of Money is here to support you in shifting your relationship with money into one of joy, money peace, freedom, and power. And of course, that results in you making more money, saving more, having more, and knowing how to handle your money like the badass coach that you are. All right. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your loyalty. Happy 50th episode celebration to us. That's you and me and all of my beautiful listeners. Be sure to screenshot this episode, share it on social, tag me at Kendall Summerhawk on Instagram. I would appreciate that so very much. All right. Next week will be the kickoff to our next 50 episodes. So I will see you next week. And my love to you always. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of the Money Coach School podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, make sure you follow so you never miss an episode. Also, I would so love and appreciate if you would leave a 5-star review. Your review supports women just like you in discovering all of the juicy tips and insights I'm sharing here on how to coach women on money. And if you want to learn how to excel at coaching women on money, definitely go to kendallsummerhawk.com and check out the wealth of money coach trainings that we have for you. Thanks so much for being part of this money coaching movement and for tuning into the show every week.